Now we're going to start letting people in.
Here they come.
Hello, everyone. Hi. So glad to have you here. Um, we're so happy to be here with you, and we're very excited to have Ginny Hawker here with us. And we're going to start the musical portion very soon. And while we're waiting, you can tell us where you're tuning in from in the chat. So excited to have everybody here. And Ginny Hawker from two different eras on our screen. If you look at Flawn's video, you'll see beautiful other video, other
Yeah, I've
pictures.
superimposed myself into the Hawker family here.
You have to move around so they can see Heidi. I love that. Okay. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to pass it over. Becky, are you? Oh, sorry. I'm going to pass it over to Becky Hill to give us some intros from Augusta.
Hello, everybody. My name is Becky Hill. I'm going to be your moderator, sorry, for today's session with Ginny Hawker. And we're so excited that she was willing to drop in at the blink of a hat. Sheila Kay had something she had to take care of, and now we get to have Ginny talking about primitive Baptist singing and sort of ballad singing, the connection she sees between both of them. It's a real treat to have her here. I have learned a great deal from her, and I'm sure you will as well. A couple of things about today. Today in particular is hosted by the West Virginia Humanities Council. So I'm going to put a link in our chat, and I would love for you throughout the presentation or at the end to please fill out that survey. It really helps show that Augusta is still making things happen in the virtual time that we are in right now. A couple other sponsors that we have today is the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History, the National Endowment for the Arts, Davis and Elkins College, and of course all of you for making it possible. So thank you for making donations, for getting those beautiful mugs, for all of those things. Other things to know, today you're going to be muted in the conversation. However, we want you to use that chat function as much as possible. And many questions that you have, don't hesitate. Emily Miller and I will jump in and ask Ginny some questions, and we'll get it going that way. Also, up in your upper right-hand corner, there's a speaker view. So you can either choose to have it focused on Ginny, or you can have it so you see everybody's faces in the room and you can see your friends kind of singing along as well. Another thing is all of these classes are going to be recorded and archived and accessible on the Augusta website. So without further ado, I'm going to hit record. We are recording already. Emily Miller already did it. So we're recording, and that will be accessible later. If you don't want to see your face up there at all, you can always hide your video, but we would love to see your faces. So without further ado, we're going to switch over, and Flan has a real treat for you. He has a recording of Ginny Hawker's dad, Ben Hawker, to start off this session. Hope you enjoy.
We're born poor. I was born poor, and we were always poor, but we didn't know it because everybody else was poor. And it was always hard work, and we moved a lot being sharecroppers. And my parents...
Hang on a moment, I just have to recue this.
I'm glad to be here tonight, and glad to have Tracy Schwartz to accompany me. I just met Tracy yesterday for the first time. My name is Ben Hawker, Hawker. I was born and raised on a tobacco farm near Danville, Virginia, some 73 years ago. And we were born poor. I was born poor, and we were always poor, but we didn't know it because everybody else was poor. And it was always hard work, and we moved a lot being sharecroppers. And my parents belonged to the old Primitive Baptist Church, sometimes known as the Old Hard Sides, or anything that's independent and hard-headed. So they don't have any music in that church, and they sing the songs real slow and deliberate, and they put a lot of emphasis on every word. And this is my father's little book, and it's a treasure to me. And it's got his thumbprints throughout different pages. They're the songs that he liked to sing the most. And at the end of each meeting, they had what is called a breaking up song, a song where they, the last song, and they kneel all around and shake hands while they're singing this song. And a lot of them is weeping at the same time. And I'm going to sing this breaking up song, and it has a little chorus in the middle of each verse. And I invite you to join in with me after you hear how it goes. As I said, it's real slow and deliberate. Some of you may not have heard this type of singing before. Jerusalem, my happy home, oh, how I long for thee. When will my sorrows have an end? Thy joys when shall I see? Oh, my home, my long sought home, my home in heaven above. Thy walls are all of precious stone, most glorious to behold. Thy gates are richly set with pearls, thy streets are paved with gold. Oh, my home, my long sought home, my home in heaven above. Thy gardens and thy pleasant greens my study long have been. Such sparkling light by human sight hath never yet been seen. Ooh, my home, my long sought home, my home in heaven above. Reach down thine arm of grace and cause me to ascend where congregations ne'er break up and Sabbath never ends. Oh, my home, my long sought home, my home in heaven above. And now, kind friends, I bid farewell. I'll leave you in God's care. And if no more I here see you, go on, I'll meet you there. Oh, my home, my long sought home, my home in heaven above.
That was my daddy. Um, he was doing the thing that he loved most in this world, singing, singing for people, and especially singing for people who really listened. And he certainly loved Augusta. I know when he was 10 years later, he was on dialysis for his diabetes, and he just said, you know, the one thing he wanted, he said, I think they do dialysis there in Elkins, you know. I would just like to come back one more time, one more time. Yeah, he really loved Augusta. He felt appreciated here. He really did. Um, and Flawn, I know Flawn was his daddy. He had three girls and one boy, but Flawn was his other son. He always said that Flawn was his other son. So anyway, okay, that's. I get myself together here. It's dangerous sometimes to go back that deep, and then to come back and be able to talk to you in some way about what that was. I don't know how many of you know much about the Old Primitive Baptist Church. By the way, the word primitive means original, the one from the beginning, rather than backward. That kind of singing is metered singing. It came to this country from the Isle of Lewis off of Scotland. And Tracy and I went there about 5 or 6 years ago to hear it done in the Gaelic language, and they did the singing just like that. And it's always in unison. And as they move on the grace notes and the slides in the different octaves, because in that particular church that we went to, they had a caller who would call a line, chant a line, and then he'd sing it with the crowd. His voice was high for a man, so he's like in this octave, and most of the women were an octave above that, and a lot of the men were an octave below. So you had 3 octaves moving on all those grace notes. As he said, as an unhurried pace, no exact way to move. It was kind of traditional to move here and there and to dwell on a note or something, but it wasn't exact. And sometimes the person who's kind of being the leader would sort of pull people along, and if you didn't hit the note right away, well, you did eventually, and everybody kind of fell into it. So it's a very, very old way of singing, and I understand from, I was told from a musicologist that it of Ireland from Spain, of all things, is that Spain had a very strong unaccompanied singing, sacred unaccompanied singing, and it came to Spain from the Moors in around Iran and in that area there. So that was how he had traced it. So anyway, in getting just for a minute, just a little technical about it, a lot of what Daddy's doing there, and what I'll do too, is moving on 3 notes where you hold the first one just a little bit. Oh, how I long for thee. Can you hear the movement that's going on? You know, no, and we sing Amazing Grace, you know. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like I see. The little thing at the end there, it's okay to cry while you're singing. We do it. Ah. So, right at the end, you was blind, but now I see. That is just a glottal stop. It's not a particular note or anything. A, a lot of this singing is not notes that you would find on the piano. It's like singing between the notes. Um, and I know I had one singing lesson from Charles Williams, and I told him I was taking notes, so it was okay. He said fine, but one of the things he said is slide to your destiny instead of going ding ding ding, you know. Amazing grace, you know, instead of going on the piano, that you slide. Amazing grace. Okay, I think that's a good lesson there. Let me sing a song for you. This is one that I particularly like. Here, let's see if I get this thing pitched right. Here in the vineyard of my Lord, I hope to live and labor and be obedient to my God until my dying hour. I love to see the lilies grow and view them all standing in the right place while here below, just as the Lord commanded. I think I'd like a little lower. We and a faithful band of pilgrims. We read, we sing, we preach and pray and find the Lord most precious. But while we sing this song of love, our hearts are deeply wounded. Perhaps we all may meet no more here in a congregation. But if on earth we in heaven, where congregations ne'er break up, but dwell in sweet communion, where all the ransomed church of God shall meet no more to sever, but meet will meet always there in a congregation. salvation. All right. The title of that is Here in the Vineyard of My Lord. Um, and the titles are always the first line. So, and they're always, as I said, they're always done in unison. So, I kind of like to move around a little bit when I'm doing them by myself. I can. Now, I was singing with Daddy. Since he was male, I was female. Sometimes it got to be a little tricky there of what to do. So one time, Daddy decided he was going to get himself a pitch pipe, and so backstage he's got this pitch pipe, and he decides that this is where he's going to sing. But he wasn't counting on the fact that you start sometimes like hey. So all right, which note do you push? Which do you blow into that pitch pipe? Well, I don't know which one he blew, but it was the wrong one. So he didn't know if to push either the one you land on or the very one you start on. But oh boy, that was a fiasco. So he said, "I'm throwing that dang thing away. I'm not using that anymore." So one of the things I did. So let's do a leader song. 8 lines. They all have 8 verbal beat, but it's metered. So here's the words: awake my soul in joyful lays, and sing thy great Redeemer's praise. He justly claims a song from me, his loving kindness, oh how free. All right, so here we go. Now, a fellow was down in, there's a woman called Mabel Martin down in Chilhowie, Virginia, that I learned this song from. And she said a young man moved away from the central heart of where this Primitive Baptist church is. Today, it's still there, people go. Anyway, and that would be southern West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, and southwest Virginia. That circle there. Well, he moved away from the area for a job, and he came back. When he did, Mabel said, "Oh, you sing a song for us. You sing." So this is what he did. He said, "Awake my soul in joyful lays, a me. His loving kindness, oh how free." And Mabel said, "Oh, that's really nice. That's very nice." And he being a pretty smart fellow said, "Mabel, bet you sing that to a different tune, don't you?" And she said, "Well, yes." Mabel was about no more than 5 feet tall and always wore Hawaiian shirts and blue jeans. And she had 6 daughters that all sang harmony and had good voices, but none of them sang as sweetly as Mama did. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. So this is how Mabel sang it. Awake my soul in joyful lays, and sing thy great Redeemer's praise. He justly claims a song from me, his loving kindness, oh how free. When trouble like a gloomy cloud can He near my soul has always stood. His loving kindness, oh, how good. Then let me mount and soar away to the bright world of endless day, and sing with rapture and surprise His loving kindness in the skies. Mabel Martin from Chilhowie, Virginia. So Kay Justice and I would go to Mabel's house. Kay had a little red pickup truck, and problem was most of her daughters lived right around in that area, and we just wanted so bad to get a recording of Mabel singing some of these songs, because these songs aren't written down, these melodies are not written down, so she was a carrier and a prime source, and we would get like 2 or 3 songs, and then here come all the daughters to sing harmony. We determined to get her on at Augusta. Her daughter brought her, one of her daughters, and so we were going to get her recorded just by herself for an hour. So I'm sitting up there with her, and her daughter's way in the back of the room, and they're like making eye contact with each other, like a calf being separated from its mama. And but at the end of that, she sang, and at the end of it, the person doing the recording said, "I don't know what's going on. There's a clicking that's going on all through the thing." And Mabel, in her nervousness without her daughter there with her, she was clicking these little plastic beads she had on the entire time. So, curses, foiled again. We really wanted to get a pure sound. Anyway, I want to sing you one that's another one that Mabel taught us that I is a personal favorite of mine. And this is a common meter song. So. A 866. A lot of popular music is written to 8686. Try to find some. You'll see some. Listen to that. See how that meter goes, and you'll see a lot of common meter songs. And this is one of hers. My God, the spring of all my joys, the life of my delights, the glory of my brightest days, and comfort of my nights. In darkest shades, if thou appear, my dawning is begun. Thou art my soul's bright morning star, and thou my rising sun. The opening heavens around me shine with beams of sacred bliss, while Jesus shows his heart is mine, and with soul would leave this heavy clay. At that transporting word, run up with joy the shining way to embrace my dearest Lord. It's called My God, the Spring of All My Joys, an absolute favorite of mine. Okay. Yeah, isn't that a beautiful melody? So I want to talk just for a minute on how some of that kind of singing goes into other, ballad singing. I want to sing you a little piece of one that Olabelle Reed did, and she was doing it just plunking on a kind of like a two-finger style on her banjo when she did it, but it could just as easily have been done unaccompanied. And by the way, I don't ever refer to this kind of singing as a cappella. That's from the church. That's what that means. So I always say it's unaccompanied singing. So, or as the old primitive Baptist minister said, accompanied only by the sincerest desires of the heart. So this is from Olabelle Reed. In a little rosewood casket, sitting on a marble stand, is a package of old love letters written by my true love's hand. Go and bring them to me, brother, and sit down upon my bed. Lay your head upon my pillow while my aching heart goes dead. Read them gently to me, brother, and perhaps I'll fall asleep. Fall asleep to wake with Jesus. Dearest brother, do not weep. Yonder comes him through the gateway. Go and meet him at him, if he'll court them girls no more. I think that is just one of the, I don't know, it's sad and it's sweet, everything all at once. Um, so ballads. Ballads have to tell a story. And I wanted to sing you this one that I just pulled back today, this morning when I found out I was going to be doing this. So this is a Civil War song that I learned from a singer here from Clay County called David Morse. So sometimes it's been done with a drum even, but it definitely has a rhythm to it. Come all ye gallant soldiers, story I will tell about the bloody battle on top of Shiloh's hill. It was an awful struggle, it'll cause your heart to chill. All from the bloody battle on top of Shiloh's hill. 'Twas on the 6th of April, the break of day. The drums and fifes were playing for us to march away. My feelings at that moment I do remember well, when first my feet went tromping to the top of Shiloh's hill. 'Twas about the hour of sunrise, the battle it began. Before the fight was over, we fit them hand to hand. The hollers of the battle did my heart with anguish fill. For the sick and the dying on top of Shiloh's hill. 'Twas early next morning, out the light again. Unmindful of the wounded, unuseful to the slain. The cannon smoke did hide the sun, 10,000 was the kill. And the streams of blood went running from the top of Shiloh Hill. My uniform of gray was turned to my uniform of blue was turned to a purplish red when someone on a flying steed did strike me on the head. I sent a bullet to his heart, and as he fell away, I saw the face of my father dressed in bloody gray. Although we won the battle, my heart is filled with pain. For the one that brought me to this life I'll never see again. I pray to the Lord, consistent with his will. Lord, save the souls of them poor boys that died on Shiloh's hill. All right. Whew. And I used to sing that for my third graders. After I gave them a little brief thing about the Civil War, you know. And after it was over, they would always, the first thing they would say was swallow real hard and say, sing it again. I said, do you understand what that story was saying? Yes. He killed his father and he didn't know it. He didn't know it. Yeah. And so I said, do you think maybe that happens sometimes in war? See, this is why I never got a permanent job with the Board of Education. I'm sure, you know. But kids love these story songs. They love songs that paint that picture like that. You know, they were way past. These children were way past. Itsy Bitsy Spider. They're in the third grade. You know, they need something that's got strength to it. You know, and all right. So you see, could you see that? I think everybody can see that some of the stuff that I was doing in the primitive Baptist singing just transferred right on over. You know, it also goes into all my country singing. You know, and if you listen to Patty Loveless sing, you know, you can tell she's from Eastern Kentucky because it's right there. You know, in the notes that she's singing, if you take all the background, the beautiful background music off, and then no harmony and everything, just listen to what she's doing. She's doing the same thing, this holding the first part of that little triplet a little bit, you know. Hey, hey, me, sing grace. So just practice that amazing grace. I tell you, it'll feel good all over your whole body. You don't just sing with your throat and your face and everything. You sing with your whole body, right from the floor up. So, and nothing feels any better than singing these old songs that have been here a long, long time. And, you know, whenever I sing primitive Baptist stuff, I can feel it. Never had any trouble singing out. All right, so I guess some of you have some questions, I hope, or some comments or something that I can respond to now. So we're going to throw it open. Tell me.
Yeah. Hi, Ginny. Um,
Hi, Becky.
we had a couple questions come through. One from Andy
Okay.
Cooper said, "Were most of these songs about the rapture?"
Oh, no, not always. I mean, you know, that sometimes they would get to that, and you know, um, if and yeah, Michael Klein said one time after he listened to one of them, he says, "Kind of takes all the sting out of death, doesn't it?" And yeah, I don't know if you call that the rapture, but you know, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of them. You know, that even though they may sound like they're really, you know, sad and everything, I mean, come on, life is sad, life's hard, you know, but you know, there is the idea that we're going to, you know, if we didn't have any kind of hope that we're going to get through this, I mean, even this current pandemic, you know, if you don't think there's nothing, I don't know why you have a reason to get up in the morning, you know. So, anyway, yeah, all right, good question.
Um, this is a fun comment I thought you would appreciate. Bob said, I think my mother would have had a happier life if she had grown up singing these songs.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, you know. And talking to Alice Gerard about that, you know, sad songs make you so happy. You know, singing sad songs. You know, I mean, Alice, you know, particularly she can get a group of women together at any festival that we meet. You know, she said, "All right, this is sad songs only. We're going to sing sad songs. And we're going to feel so much better when it's done." You know, so I don't know why that is. Don't need any alcohol, just a bunch of sad songs. Right, Flan? So, okay,
Let's see. Yes.
yeah, yeah. That feels it does. I don't know why that is. You just feel better
I was
singing,
just thinking
especially.
of the sweetest gift, a mother's smile, you know, one of the
Yeah.
saddest of sad songs, and people
Oh my God.
delight in singing it.
Yes. Yeah. And you just I don't know. Especially if you can sing it with somebody. You know, if you can, you know, wow. Yes, you have a little group somewhere, you know, and singing this. Oh, yeah. Many times on the porch there at Augusta, everybody was weeping a little bit, you know. But that didn't stop the singing. So anyway, anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, I've definitely wept singing with you, Jenny. Stephanie said, were all the songs you collected religious?
Oh no, no, no. I've got other and have recorded other ballads, and a lot of country music with a full band, But no, it's just that every so often you have to go back and touch base, you know. You just have to touch base. And I know, Becky, you were a scholarship, what we call apprenticeship. She came 6 or 7 times to the house, and we cried and we sang and we cried and we sang, and then it was more or less like a therapy session. But and so we said at the end, let's go see Hazel Stover down in Clay County, and love on her a little bit, and because she's where we got so many of these old original tunes from her. So we did that, and then Becky said, "Well, I want to have a thing, a group singing somewhere." So we did it in the kitchen of the little Presbyterian church there near me. And Becky said, "And there's food, food. There has to be food." So, so first we ate, and then we pushed the tables back and we sang, and that was the end of that apprenticeship. It was just a very rewarding thing for me, Becky. That was great. Yeah.
It was definitely life changing for my singing as well, Jenny. And I remembered
Good.
it was your birthday. We got milkshakes. We went to go see Hazel Stover.
Yes, that's right. What a great birthday. Yes.
All right. Another couple questions came through. It says, Ellen
Okay.
said, could you explain your comment about not using the term a cappella? She said, I love the quote about being accompanied only by the sincerest desires of the heart.
Yes. Well, a cappella it's an Italian term, I think, isn't it? It means from the church. And some of the singing that that Shiloh's Hill is not. It's sung unaccompanied. It's not sung. I don't know. It's not from the church. So yeah. I don't know. I just never referred to it as a cappella. I always called it just unaccompanied singing. Personal preference, I guess. All right. What other questions you find there, Becky?
Heather said, my mom says she's not a singer, but she knows all the hymns. Do you find in your community that people think of themselves as singers or not singers?
I think the TV is to blame for some of that stupidity. To have a contest for singing is ridiculous. Because people have, their voices are like this, not like this. Some better than others. They're just different. Everybody's. There's nothing to me that sounds better than somebody. Yes, money. That's what brings in the money. Competition. Got to have competition. But and it was just disheartening to me when my 8-year-old grandson said, I could hear him singing in the shower. He only sang the national anthem. Oh, say, can you sing? But he sang it so well in the shower. I knew the boy could sing, and I said, Evan, I didn't know you could sing like that. No, I'm not a singer. I'm not a singer. And I thought, oh, how sad. Of course he's a singer. He's 8 years old. He's a singer. And a lot of us are told early on, that because we can't make that big jump, happy birthday, that's an octave jump. And a lot of 5-year-olds can't make that jump, you know. And besides that, the teacher started it off from some kind of written music she had. And, by the way, if you're doing music with children, you never ever say to them, get the child to match your piano. The instrument matches the child. Wherever the child started off, that's where the music teacher or the singing teacher goes to that place. Instead of saying, no, sing it here. No, don't do that. Okay, all right. We're not going to do that, are we? What other questions you got there, Becky?
All right. AJ asked, where do you get the lyrics or the text? What's your sources? And I know you have your book from your dad. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this book actually came from my aunt, Annie Maud. You can buy these, though. It's called, I'll give you, The Primitive Baptist Hymns, Spiritual Songs, and Sacred Poems by Benjamin Lloyd. There are two different kinds. There's a Lloyd and a Goebbels. We always used Lloyd's Primitive Baptist Hymns. And you can buy them. I asked the little lady down there in North Carolina that was selling them online, so how much are they? And she said, I think something like $8 at the time. And I said, so if I buy 10 of them, and she said $8 each. No break there.
And Jenny, I think you referred to the counting the syllables in each line and how some of these songs are connected,
Yeah.
being common meter or something like that. This little black book has only the poetry in it, and is it marked with the numbers of
Yeah.
syllables? We can't quite
Yes,
see that
it
from.
says this one's a long meter, and I don't know if anybody can.
Yeah, long meter is one particular count of syllables. Common meter is another. There are several other things. And the congregation would just know several tunes that fit those meters. And so you might have the poetry at one time or other sung to various different tunes that the community
Right,
already knew.
right, and so yeah. See, everything is marked either long meter, long meter. Can anybody see that? Long meter, common meter, short meter. So anyway, there you go. Yeah, this is very precious. My aunt gave it to me because we visited her in the nursing home, and she said, "I hear you're singing the old, the old hymns." Uh, and I said, "Well, when I can find some people that want to really listen, and I don't do it on a big stage or anything." And she said, "Well, go over to the dresser and get that little black book. That'll be yours." So these were very honored. My brother has daddies. So, yeah.
And
So
in the
anyway,
clip that we played from your daddy at the top of the hour, he made reference to that book having been his father's and seeing
right,
his father's fingerprints in it and his father's markings of what his favorite
right,
songs had been.
right. I mean, you can see that my aunt There's a hole in the page there, uh, from her fingers where she, because they worked in the tobacco even if they didn't smoke it or chew it. I think maybe she did. I don't know, but her thumb was held there because usually they would hold the book with their left hand like this, and then so that they could shake hands or hug people or pat people on the shoulder or something. But they held it there, and her thumbprint is there with the tobacco stain still in there. So yeah, very precious books that they are. But the ballads, my goodness, they're all over West Virginia. Sometimes you just have to convince the elderly people who carry them that you really are interested. You want to listen. You know, you don't want to. They don't have to do anything. You just want to listen. When I first started coming to Augusta, I went to many classes where I didn't say a word or sing a note. I just sat there. I was listening to Nimrod Workman and Gene Ritchie and these people all in one class. Why on earth would I want to sing? I was just filling up the well, just filling up my well. So that's where the songs come from. Any more questions? Anybody?
Yeah, I think we have a question from, let me find it really quick. Andy Cooper. It says, were slash are primitive Baptist congregations mostly white or are they racially mixed? And I would like to add that how many primitive Baptist congregations are there around that are singing right now? Do you know?
Uh, well, the primitive Baptist people live in the real world, and sadly, so many of the churches are starting to sing harmony. They hear it, they know how to do it. So, but the little one, the last one we went to, the last one I went to, they're down in the southern part of West Virginia. So it takes me an hour, couple hours to get down into there. It's in an old reclaimed one-room schoolhouse. And 2/3 is the sanctuary part, and 1/3 is the Eaton part. So it was wonderful to be there with a student of mine. But it was Pilgrim's Rest Primitive Baptist Church. Parking outside for four vehicles up on a little flat spot. But yeah, the singing was really good. There was one woman in the church, though, who was, insisting on singing harmony. And it was sad for me, and my student that was with me. But there are some churches I know down around Charleston. And I know there are quite a few. But I don't know. I think, and in Western North Carolina, there are too. They're not that hard to find. There was one right off of the Washington Beltway for a while. I don't know what kind of singing they were doing at that place, but because they are in the real world, so they hear different things. But I know one girl wanted her brother to play the guitar for her wedding. So he stood at the door and played the guitar. That was fine with everybody. So anyway, they have very few rules. It's not like, it's not rules like so much like the Amish or anything. It's not like that. They just concentrate so much on not preaching down to anybody or making anybody feel guilty or scared. My grandfather said, I said, oh, I didn't know you were going to church. And I was a teenager then, and going to the Methodist church and all like that back home. And so he said, always I go. And I said, can I come with you? You're always welcome. And I said, why do you never ask us to come with you? And he said, that's between you and God. That's, that's not I'm not in there. And he said, our church believes that you just have to love people in. You love them in if they want to come in. So, I asked Daddy, how do you know when somebody's getting ready to join the church? And he said, usually it's the person way in the back who's just jittery the whole time. He's trying to resist, I guess. But there's not much of a big deal to joining. You just go up to the front and tell the elder up there that I want to be a member here. So anyway, that's any other questions?
I think those are all the questions. We had a lot of people say, thank you so much for sharing your stories. Greta said, I listened to it while I worked in my garden today. Another says, thank you
Oh,
so much, Ginny. It was wonderful to hear you singing and talking about all your history and culture. So I think there's everyone is super grateful for you joining us today and on such short notice today. So thank you
yeah.
for making that possible.
All righty. Well, I'll go back over across. I'm just across the way. It's walking distance here to my house. So anyway, well, this has been fun. I am glad to be here.
I also
And
put in the chat, just posted a minute or so ago, if anybody wants to hear the song and the introduction from Jenny's father, Ben Hawker, that we played at the top again, there's a Dropbox link in the chat room for that.
Okay. Okay. Good.
And I just wanted to say once again, today was made possible through the West Virginia Humanities Council. So please, if you're in the Zoom meeting, take that extra couple minutes and fill out that survey so we can let them know that Augusta is still thriving in such a time of virtual. We're still passing it on and we're still holding on to those traditions. Once again, I want to thank our sponsors, the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History, the National Endowment for the Arts, Davis and Elkins College, and all of you. Also, we want to remind you that Augusta is still going. This is only week 2 and just the beginning of it. So there's lots of beautiful things happening. I know Flan Williams is going to be doing improvisation technique later. You can also sign up for Augusta if you haven't. There's classes available until October 1st. And like I said, we have another about 10 days left of online things like this. So please don't hesitate. You can donate $1 to $100 to $1,000. Any of those things Augusta will take. Once again, we want to thank Jenny, and please, please take that moment to fill out the survey. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Becky, can you show me their faces?
Yeah, I think Emily might be able to do that real quick.
All right. She's coming.
Sorry, have to do it over here. There's a lot of computers in this house. There we go. There we go.
There's everybody's faces. Oh,
Wave
all
to
right.
Ginny, everybody.
Yay. I know so many of you.
Oh, a bunch. I don't know. Oh, but people are turning their cameras back on. They were all just listening to you.
All right.
But I can't.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than that, but I can't make it switch pages right now. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. There, I can do.
Oh, I love this thing. I love to see people's faces.
And there's thank yous being sent all around. People say it's informative. It's such an Augusta experience, all of those things. So thank you once again.
All right. All right.
Yay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Leave that.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to post that link one more time and grab it if you haven't already. And then I'm going to end the meeting. Okay, I'm also going to post the link on the Facebook page if you don't get a chance to get it. Okay, thanks everyone.